Welcome to Optimal Timelines. My name is Sean, and this is going to be your January 2025 new moon reading for the collective energies. Now, we're going to look at this new moon through three different lenses, so it's going to be a triple divination reading. We're going to look at it through the lens of astrology, tarot, and also the I Ching. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the I Ching is one of the most ancient divination methods in the world, and it uses 64 symbols or hexagrams that each has a different meaning. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the collective energies that we experience as a group collective in the world, and also individual energies. So obviously when we are, going through our life, we have our own life path and our own soul path that we are experiencing. But we're also experiencing life as a collective, and that's what this reading is. This new moon reading is going to focus on the energies of how the collective is going through this together. So bits and pieces of this reading are going to apply directly to you, and also apply directly to those close to you, maybe people you work with, your family members, people that you are in relationships with. And remember, the new moon is all about new beginnings, and it's about new growth. And so this is something that we are all trying to kind of embody and work on as a collective. So with that, I'm going to connect to the energies and we can begin. I call upon my spirit guides, guardians, and the wisdom of my ancestors to bring forth the information that's true and correct for all who see and hear this reading, that it may bring them the most beautiful, happy life possible and set them on their most optimal future timeline. So may it be. Okay, so we're going to start off talking about the astrology of this new moon. And when I was looking at this new moon and all of the aspects, I gathered some kind of overall information and kind of feelings and intuition about it. And one of the things that this new moon is pointing to is it's pointing to our fulfillment as opposed to or along with other people's fulfillment. So Aquarius rules, the sign of Aquarius rules the collective. Okay. Also the 11th house, which is ruled by Aquarius, is the collective energies. And what I was gathering from this is that where in our lives are we needing to adapt ourselves to other people, and making sure that not only are we getting our needs fulfilled, but where others are getting their needs fulfilled. And the way I was thinking about it is, think about it this way. When you are going through your day, imagine dealing with everybody from the time you get on, if you travel to work, or whoever you're dealing with, getting to work, going through your day, going shopping possibly after work, but going through your whole day. And imagine if that you were dealing with the majority of the time people that were happy and fulfilled, as opposed to going throughout your day where you were dealing with people at work, on the road, in the stores, in your own family, whatever that is, and people that were like disgruntled and that weren't happy and fulfilled. It would be a completely different world. I know that we can't expect everyone to be like that, but what this new moon is saying is, where can we give of ourselves, of our energy, in order to make the world a better place? Like, where can we show people situations? Can we show grace in situations, cut people breaks? How can we affect the collective energies and help other people? Because obviously, our number one concern is, we're dealing with, our immediate family and our own selves. Obviously, we don't have any control over other people, but where can we make a difference, with a kind word, or kind gesture or helping someone out. And so that's kind of what this new moon is like pointing to. Now, the other thing this new moon is pointing to is relating to the collective in the sense of what our place is in various collectives that we belong to. So what's a collective? It could be any organization that we belong to, a family, a group of friends, a work situation where we're in a collective, and where our place is within that. And because it's relating to the sign of Aquarius is relating to what could be thought of as, tribes or clans. And what was important is if you look back, thousands of years ago, people were very connected to, everyone had their place and position within a tribe or a town or a clan, right? And the same is with us. Like, we hold a place. What is our role, and how are we affecting that role? Can we adapt within that role? Meaning that, can we be able to make changes within ourselves in order to help the group, type of a thing. And so that's one of the big things that this new moon is pointing to, is how can we affect positively the collective as a whole. Okay, now let's move on to the tarot of this new moon in Aquarius at 9 degrees 51 minutes. Okay, the card for this new moon is the reversed Knight of Wands. Now, all of the Knight cards are cards of movement, some sort of movement. And with the wands, wands are referring to energy of all sorts. And when I saw this card, the way I thought and felt that it related to this new moon in Aquarius is, what energy are we putting out into the collective? Years ago, I heard a talk by Eckhart Tolle where he was talking about, how as we move forward in the future, people are learning more and more about energy. Like, we used to think of, our own individual selves, like we can think and feel however we, need to feel, because that's within our own bodies and our mind, right? But what we've learned really, in the past several decades, and I think everyone realizes this now, is our energy is not contained within our brain and our body, right? The energy, exudes out. Like, for example, most people have the ability to, if you walk into a room of really kind of happy, upbeat people, or as opposed if you walk into a room of a really angry or upset person, they don't even have to say or do anything. It's palpable, you can feel it, right? So what this is saying is that this new moon is asking us to think what kind of energy are we emanating from, minute to minute, hour to hour, day by day in our own lives, because what this talk Eckhart Tolle was saying is, he was saying what are we feeding the collective through our energy? And I realized that, we can't always, we're human, we have bad days, okay, things happen. But if we think about, ourselves, what are we kind of putting out there, and what are other people putting out there? There's people around us that maybe that's a way we could help. If we have a loved one or someone close to us that is they don't realize that what they're putting out there, they're putting out anxiety, worry, anger, upset, whatever it is, what are they putting out there? Because that not only affects the collective, but it's also affecting them. Our own energy and other people's energy also affects us. So, if we're, dealing with a person that is constantly kind of putting out like negative energy or whatever that is, that is definitely, affecting us. So all we can do is kind of ourselves kind of, monitor what we're putting out. I did this as an experiment several months ago where you might want to try this. It's really interesting. I started at one day, a normal weekday at 9 a.m. And every hour, what I did was I paused for a minute or two, like from 9 to 10, and I wrote down how I was feeling, what was going on, and then I would do that hour by hour. So from 9 to 10, from 10 to 11, and so on. I did it for the whole day, and it was really interesting. I just briefly wrote it down, and what I noticed is, I would write down what incidents would happen. Like, there were positive things that happened. I got some good news about something, and then I also got some negative things that happened. But when you monitor your energy, it's really interesting because you become like aware of it. Our energy definitely like fluctuates throughout the day. And so I found myself like, oh, maybe I need to kind of snap myself out of it. So I think that's what this is saying like, it's time for all of us to kind of be aware of. That's what we can help the world is, can we put out the best energy that we can? And at the same time, be human. Like, we have to feel our feelings. We shouldn't like just put out like, rainbows and sunshine all the time. I mean, we shouldn't be fake. We have to be real. We're humans, and we have the full spectrum of emotions. But we also can have the ability to work through them. Like, we don't have to stay in these emotions. So that's kind of what I was kind of thinking, with this card. Now let's look at the I Ching for this new moon at 9 degrees 51 minutes of Aquarius. Now, the hexagram symbol that is relating to this new moon is hexagram 17, and the hexagram is called following. And what this is relating to is it's relating to how we can influence other people, and how we are influenced by other people. Okay, and how it goes both ways. And this hexagram goes in to really deep places. We'll take the ability to influence, like in leadership. So leadership doesn't necessarily mean a boss or a supervisor. Sometimes there's leadership within family groups. Okay, there also can be multiple co-leaders. Okay, and the one thing about that it says in this hexagram is, in order to be a good leader, we also have to first be a good follower. And what that means is that the best leaders are the people that also have the ability to follow, meaning that if someone who is following them maybe has a better idea about something, are we flexible and humble and adaptable enough to accept that? As opposed to, being a good leader doesn't mean like, this is the law, you must follow this all the time. A good leader is be able to adapt and also follow when necessary. Okay. They also say that if you see the hierarchy of like companies, even people that are high up in companies, they usually have supervisors and leaders above them, and usually the ones that are successful are the ones that are able to lead where they need to, and then also like follow. And as I said, this happens within groups and in families. Okay, all of that. Sometimes we may have someone in our family that isn't recognized as the leader, but they may have, as I said, a good idea. Okay, so that's one of the things that this hexagram is talking about. Now, one of the other things that this hexagram 17 is talking about is it's talking about adaptability and the importance of that. But it brings it in a certain way, like adapting to changes, to changing situations, which is like, for example, when you're within, you have good weather and then you have bad weather. Okay, you have to adapt. Okay, the other thing it brings up is like day and night. So, for example, we adapt to day in a certain way and we adapt to night in a certain way, and that balance is very important. So we're going throughout our day and we're working and we're doing certain things during the daytime, then when night comes, we have to adapt. It's time to, okay, maybe take some rest, have a meal with our family, and as I said, like rest throughout the night. This is the balance and the ability to adapt. If this can also be applied to, for example, let's say that you are in a situation where, you know, again, this is relating to the collective. You may be in a situation in a family or in a company or just, among friends or in your life. Do you have the ability to adapt when it's brought to your attention that maybe there is a different path to go or a different idea that can be presented, for a certain situation? Do you have the ability to say, wow, okay, yeah, that's like a great idea? Or do you not adapt and you just say, no, this is what I think and feel, even though maybe deep down inside you're like thinking, like that is kind of a good idea. So it's the ability to be flexible. Okay, so that's another word for this adaptability. But it's important to adapt to the changing situations and not try to force things. Now I know in the modern world here, for example, like, we some people work at night, they have different, schedules. But like, are we forcing things where, like, are we working all day and then turning on the lights at night and working all night? I mean, that may be a way to adapt. Sometimes we have to do that. But we forcing things all the time and not, sometimes our body says, no, we need to adapt. Like, you're tired, you need to rest, and so that's what where adaptability and flexibility really pay off, because we can make the most of changing situations, when there's good weather, as I said, and bad weather, where we have to adapt to those changing scenarios. Now, another important thing that's relating to the collective is the ability to adapt to other people's belief systems. So one of the things that this hexagram is really bringing this whole reading together is, there's a lot of divisiveness in the world. Everyone has an opinion about something. Everybody has beliefs, whether they be, political, spiritual, and all of that. And it's good to have beliefs, but sometimes, we get really stuck in that. We get stuck in ways of being, and that's not really being adaptable. That's not really helping the collective. I think that, do we have the ability to say, for example, when we are mistaken about something, do we have the ability to say, I was wrong about that, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And that is called adaptability right there. When we have a belief system that is shown to us that, maybe needs to be thought of in a different way, or to rethink that belief system, do we have the ability to adapt to that situation, and the ability to say, okay, yeah, maybe I need to rethink that type of a thing, And so that's what one of the things this hexagram is saying. But when we're doing that, the reason the hexagram, one of the main reasons is it's called following, is that when we are kind of in sync and we're balanced, where we're able to adapt, when we're able to be flexible, we're able to maybe have the ability to change some of our thoughts and beliefs, what we're doing is people will also take into consideration what our thoughts are. So it's this, like, that's the only way this world is really going to move forward, is the ability for us to kind of come together and people to maybe see our side, and then us to see their side also. Okay. And within that, if both sides are stuck on their side, we're not going to move forward. Okay. And so that's one of the things that this new moon is really saying, to kind of wrap it all up, is saying that, we need to take, in order to have the best world possible for the collective and for us individually, we need to take all of these things into consideration and, like, work together. Okay. Because the strongest tribes or groups are those that are more united. It doesn't mean we have to agree with everything that everyone in the collective says or does or thinks, right? But can we at least, respect those? Can we have the ability to, when we're shown, that we're wrong about something, can we change those belief systems, right? And it's going to take everybody to do that. But again, it kind of starts with us. So what is it that we're putting out into the collective? And what is it that we are adapting to or not adapting to? That's kind of like the big takeaway with this new moon. Anyway, I hope you thought this reading was helpful to you and you found some value. And I thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Happy new moon. Many blessings.